Welcome back to the Public Swing Trading System with myself, Jenny Baker, where we go over a couple of trade reviews that we also did live on YouTube, and of course look over some new setups that you could potentially follow along in your live or paper trading account so you can finally realize that trading is as easy as you make it on yourself. Of course, I have to have my disclaimer, otherwise YouTube and the world at large is going to come right after me saying that trading is high risk. Please do so at your own risk. And everything we go over pip-wise, those of you who have experience, you guys know all this stuff already, but those of you who don't, I don't want to overwhelm you or kind of confuse you and get lost in all the sauce. But just so you know, this is kind of what we're doing in terms of understanding the value monetarily from the calls that we're doing. So you can get an idea. Obviously, you're much better off using a percentage of risk and reward based on kind of the way you're managing. But just to show you what this is potentially worth once you gain this skill. So let's go take a look at how we did. Of course, we're going to start right here just to kind of show you what we've been doing with these live calls on YouTube. The whole idea is not to show you perfection, it's to show you progress. It's to show you what's possible when you stick with the skill and actually get good at it, right? No one cares about being perfect if you're being profitable, right? So let's see, starting from the top, I'm going to go all the way up here. I did zoom it down just so we can get a chance to see some of the new information I added. I'm kind of geeked out about. Here's how we've been performing this year. Not a great week. This was a strong week mostly because of that index we had there. And as of last week, not last week, but the 21st specifically, remember that call is on the 21st U.S. time, 2222, well, 222, yeah, whatever, February 22nd. Chart time is when we looked at these. 2 trades played out perfect. 1 hit a stop loss, 2 never even activated. This one did move over 39 pips in our favor, but does not match our pre-written rules that are defined in advance, always 100% of the time. You can't go back. It's not subjective. It's completely duplicatable is the whole idea. What I'm excited to show you is this, 85 pips last week. Not great, but it's Forex. What do you expect? The market has been absolutely crazy this week, and we can expect more of the same. Totally fine. So far this year, we're coming into the first week of March. Remember, we started a week or so late anyways, 2 weeks late, more accurately. We're already at 3,000 pips, give or take. I wanted to show you that, yes, accuracy, not so good. But remember, we're looking over the long term, the big picture. Average win to loss rate is still really, really good, mostly because we've got those metals and indices really weighing heavy on those Forex pairs. But you guys get the point. What I added in here was if these calls are about 20 minutes long, that means 3 weeks we've got 1 hour, 1 hour worth of work, 1 hour worth of trade analysis and kind of reviewing this video. Figure at your very smallest lot size assumed on this broker. And let me preface, I had to pick a broker. Remember, every pair is worth different amounts. We know that. Different brokers offer different things. We know that as well. But just to create a standard for the purpose of conversation, this is based off of the standard value of $10 per pip and using specifically USWay as a reference point. With that said, you've got $30, okay, for a single hour working part-time from your home. We're using your own skill set, investing in yourself on the very smallest amount of money you can make. On point 1, which is pretty moderate, most people's account I think can afford this, particularly on the Forex pairs, but needless to say, you're looking at about $300 in a single hour of your time. At a standard lot size, you made over $3 grand. Definitely not a bad way to be. And remember, they call it standard for a reason. Ideally, we should have that kind of account that you can trade that size. That means in about 1 hour of your time, if you're not making other decisions in and out on the rest of the time, you've made over $3,000 in a single hour. And of course, at 10 standard lots, it's over $30,000. $30,000, and that's not even the biggest, right? We can even go much, much higher. But just for the sake of understanding what it is you have access to, if you really set your mind to learning the skill, and I don't care which strategy you end up choosing, YouTube has a plethora of information. Obviously, a lot of good stuff, but a lot of noise in between, right? A lot of distraction in between. So I pray that you pick a lane and get really good and kind of hone in on the skill set because it can and ultimately will change your life forever if you allow it to. But without further ado, let's go over to the charts. We're going to review these 5 trades. And of course, we're going to look at these 5 as well. So before I even go on, please notice there are 3 JPY pairs. We do not over leverage per currency. So depending on the size of your account, you might look at these 3 and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and stick with 1 of these, or I'm going to stick with 2 of these based off of what you can afford. But if you're going to be putting an index as well as 3 of the same currency and an exotic in that account, please know it's going to mess with your leverage just a little bit. It's going to mess with your margin quite a bit. So don't try to take all of these if your account cannot handle it. Only trade what you can afford to trade. Make sure you're trying to keep your margin above whatever you're deciding it is for high risk, low risk, or what have you. I would say above 1,000, above 500, very, very, very bare minimum, and above 1,500, 2,000 is definitely a much better way to be. But let's go take a look at these charts real quick and go from there. Okay, starting with the top, I'm just going to go ahead and come right in here. I'm going to zoom in. We can see this is pretty messy. Starting with Euro USD, we were looking for a buy. If I'm not mistaken, actually, I do need to zoom out because it's been a couple of weeks. So, what is that? Look on the very bottom of your screen down here. We're looking for 222, so 222 at about 2 o'clock, that candle time. We were looking for a buy, and we're looking for it above this fractal. We never quite came into that range to activate in this area. So, good news is we did not end up getting trapped into this trade. Bad news is we also didn't catch any of this. Some of my team did. In terms of Euro USD, I did not catch any of this, needless to say. So as of right now, obviously I'm not selling this with all the US news this week, and I'm not buying at this point either because there's not a good reason to buy. So that goes off of our watch list for the day. Again, we're just going to review real quick. We're going to end on CADJPY because we're going to start right back over there. So gold, we were looking, several of my team members actually got multiple trades on this. We got it from the bottom as well. So I don't know. Let's see. We're looking for 2-2. Come all the way over here. Remember, our rules preface, I'll have to move that darn circle. That's about 83 pips, give or take, 87 pips. I'll just keep moving around so you can get the idea. Not a bad way to be. So we've got anywhere from 80 to 90-ish pips from where we entered. Now, granted, did we come down and make another level? Yes, but as the rules have been predefined, we are always protecting within that 50 pips no matter what, or 1 ADR, 1 ATR, depending on how you're managing. That is already defined in advance, so please make sure you're doing that. Stop loss is its structure plus 1 ATR. So that's an easy 50 pips, 80 pips on the table. Not a bad trade. Some of my team caught this earlier this morning and caught this whole move up. We finally cashed out with like 390 pips or so. Don't quote me exactly, but definitely great trade. This one is officially off of our watch board. Again, we have made a steamy move down, and I'm not looking as of right now. So as of right now, don't have a reason to buy, nor do I have a reason to sell just yet. So that is done for me for now. Odd CAD was the other one that did not enter from where we were at. I had to go take a look. I was like, wait a minute, are we sure? So this is the 0 o'clock hour. We never came up to break this point, this level that we had already predefined. And that's okay. So no loss, no harm, no foul. That's why we have the rules that we do, is to protect us even for the times where the analysis is off. Now remember, I'm not using necessarily analysis on these videos. I'm just showing that any system has the potential to work when you apply right management with it, particularly something like an automatic management system. We do offer one. Actually, a gentleman that I work with has created a pretty awesome one. But that takes us off of our list. No trade, nothing to worry about there. So no win, no loss, and not a bad way to be. One more, and then we're going to go to CADJPY. So we got NZD CAD. This one was a bit tricky. So coming all the way into here, we're looking at this time, somewhere right into here. We put our little pending. Trying to get my mouse to go over just a smidge, baby bit more. There we go. So we come into here, we activate. We move for better than 39, 38-ish pips. Not bad. We, of course, pop down to make another huge level and then steam all the way up to get that move we were looking for. It's 114 pips. First, of course, had to make a swing down. But, again, because the rules are predefined and we're going to stick by those rules, rain, pour, or shine, here's the reality. Here's our structure anywhere in here, and we're always adding our 1 hour ATR. So in this case, it's about 13 pips, give or take. Remember, that number is going to fluctuate. So my total loss on this, I'm pretty sure, was 63 pips. I need to get that darn circle off this recording software. Sorry if you're having a hard time seeing it like I am, but just so you guys get an idea. Losing trade fair and square, depending on what your management was, you might have actually scaled out of this and ended up with a break even or a slightly positive trade. Can't say for certain. I did scale out a little bit, but I still ended up taking a loss on this trade. It is what it is, and I still ended the week, actually the 2-week period, positive for this system. So let's take this line off, remove it. Remove that from our watch list. Completely done. And now we're going to end where we started. Here's where we're at for CADJPY. So CADJPY, oopsie, I'm going to scroll all the way over. You guys can see we did catch the pips that we needed to on that trade. Come on all the way over. 2-2, come in. Just catching that exact point, you guys get the idea. But we came in, we have our rules again predefined. So you guys can see that breaks the 50 pip rule that we're needing. It says 60 some odd-ish pips in total. But overall, still not bad. We were early. We popped up, made another level, came back to retest that level with a nice ascending channel, and now we're sitting back at this level. We still have an active simplicity that has not yet really played out, so we have officially broken past that. So today we're going to start here. I'm going to make this purple, and I'm going to redo. So I'm going to keep that on there, and now we're going to rediscuss this. So we're looking for a sell. Where do we want that sell? Right now we're pushing up. You can wait until you get a retest. You have that option, right? We're coming up right now. You can wait for us to get that retest nice into this zone. Of course, you have that option. Otherwise, you can also go to the line chart, choose either the volume of price or, of course, any of these fractals. For the sake of duplication, I try to stick with the fractals, but between you and me, I would definitely be inclined to put it right around this price point too. So totally up to you if this is one of the pairs you're going to try out and play with for your kind of swing trade entry. Totally up to you. But I'm looking for a sell right around this area. Figure it's okay to have a retest as long as we don't break structure. Okay, that's here and here, plus a 1 hour ATR. Figure on the smaller end, we still don't have enough room to continue to push up. We've got an easy 60 pips. On the larger end, we've got 171-ish pips to go. So we've got a lot of reason to be looking to sell this for the moment being. And as if I zoom out quite a bit, we've actually have a lot more than that. So definitely track this trade. Consider taking it in your paper trading account while you're learning how to manage, and give it your college best, if you will. So that's trade number 1 for a trade idea. Trade number 2, US Mexican. So we know before I even talk about anything US dollar based, there is a ton of news on the table. We had another speech today, which moved prior to the speech. It was really weird, but needless to say, anything we're doing with the US dollar, please be mindful. Please make sure we are protecting at all costs. Maybe have slightly more tight management, slightly more reactive in terms of how quickly you're going to protect your bag. Otherwise, I try to stick pretty consistent with what I'm doing. But because I want to make sure I'm teaching you the best that I possibly can, please, please, please consider that. Now, having said that, simplicity's got to buy. That's all the way up here. That's my take profit line. Let's clean this up. Let's see. Let's clean this up. We're looking for a buy. We're going to make it pending. That's why we've got it dotted like so. Now, before we solidify this line of where it's at, this is a pretty big ask. That's a lot of pips. Now, mind you, the pip value on this is going to look pretty high, but the pip value is actually not that high. It says 700-ish pips away. That's a pretty far distance. Of course, you can choose to keep it there. For me and for mine, I'm going to bring that all the way down into this range and say when we break this area, I'm taking this trade. So any moment, back to the line chart, past, just so we have it on the recording for all the peoples, the 0 o'clock hour, which is really the 1:30, more accurately. It's 1:30 right now, 6:30 my time. If we win and if we break beyond this price point, I am in this trade. So I'm going to put my pending at 18.1430. I usually round out the numbers. That's where my pending buy is going to be, period, across the board. My stop loss is always below structure plus a 1 hour ATR. And in general, I'm protecting within 50 pips or a 1 ATR. It's defined. It's spelled out. It's as easy as you can make it. So where are we going? This is about 2,000 pips away. Now, mind you, this is not, that sounds like a lot, but this isn't as expensive because it's an exotic pair. I'm expecting my first reaction in here. This is just a trading system to show you what's possible. This is a simplicity system for those of you guys who don't know. If you're interested in this system, make sure you're going over to superez.com and check it out. Definitely worthwhile, especially if you're a new trader. It just takes it makes it very easy. It takes some of the guesswork out while you're learning, especially if you know how to use it properly. But needless to say, I'm looking for a reaction in and around this zone. Okay, if I were to mark up my charts, which I'm not doing, that's where I would be targeting currently, and beyond that I would look for the retest. So if we break above and retest, I'm going to target my next zone and then my next zone over and over. So we'll see how much of a retracement we get on this pair, but overall, great pair. That is trade number 2. EURJPY next. Here we go. So our simplicity is telling us it's a good time to potentially look for a sell, right? So what if you don't know how to mark up your chart, you don't have a strategy, and you don't know what you're doing very well? Can you use a system like this to be profitable? Potentially the answer is yes, if you have good management. So here's where we're at. Here's our simplicity system. We did break below. We confirmed that that is a valid trade idea. We pushed back up to form a double top and potentially even head and shoulders without making a higher high. We've got everything we need right now that says not a bad idea. Great time to possibly sell. So here's where we're at. We're showing some signs of rejection. Again, we could get a retest back into this zone that we've been consolidating in. Totally fine, totally normal. Otherwise, when we break below $144.59, I am going to be selling this pair. My first reaction zone is going to be into here. That's where I'm first looking to go. It's going to be right into here. Of course, I'm going to be trimming profits no matter what within my 1 ATR or 50 pips across the board. Always, 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 always. That's how I'm setting up my management, and that's what I'm doing to make sure I'm profitable on these trades. Just to show that it doesn't have to be perfect. But that is trade number 3. UK 100. For this, I'm going to have to zoom out. I'm going to actually, first off, before I zoom out, I'm still using the 1 hour because I'm doing something duplicatable intentionally live so you guys can track this along. This is only a very small fraction of what we do, but I wanted to show it's possible. So before I go bounce around and start talking about this, I have to acknowledge Simplicity has a 1 hour trade idea. We did break below not once but twice, confirming that this is a valid trade, at least according to my rules for myself. Now, having said that, let's pop up. 4 hour also has a nice sell idea where we've retested. We've consolidated for a hot minute. Yes, we can come all the way back into the zone. That's a pretty hefty ask. Daily. Look at what we're seeing on the daily. Potential head and shoulders forming, right? We've got tons of dojis, tons of candle formations, tons of inside candles all the way scattered throughout the daily, 4 hour, and 1 hour time frame. We've got a lot of reason to be looking for this to sell down. But before you decide to take a trade like this, please know, first off, this is an index. It is an expensive pair to trade. Not only is it an index and moves a lot of pips, it has a very large ADR. It's also worth more because it's a European-based index. So please, please, please be mindful if you're making this decision. Now, having said that, I gotta pick a new slogan. I find one, I say it for like half a decade, and then I find a new one. Well, maybe like 6 months, but you get the idea. This is over 7,000 pips. Are we getting that far? This is over 3,700 pips. And even only into this first range, which is 1,300, which I think we're going to definitely get closer to that 2,000-ish, is 2,000 pips. This one trade, if it is right, okay, if it's wrong, you lose whatever percentage of your account that you're risking. If it's right, can literally change a decent chunk of your month if you're trading it properly. Not going to go into too much detail there, but I wanted to show you this picture so you get a good idea. Even a 23% retracement on this trade is a great, great paycheck for the majority of people listening. Let's mark this up. Well, not mark it up. Not mark it up, technically speaking. Here's where we're currently at. We're still pushing up. So to stay true to form, I'm going to keep my pending right here. No kidding, it would be a much better idea to go to a smaller time frame and wait for you to get a continuation on a smaller time frame. It's going to give you a slightly better entry, a slightly smaller risk, and a slightly better reward across the board. If you don't have that kind of patience or know-how or understanding, fine, take it at this price point of 7,889. Again, that's 7,889. Not a bad way to be. We break out of this, we're golden. We've got quite a bit of ways to go. And if not, cool, then we no loss, no win. Not bad at all. So here we are, UK 100. I would definitely be expecting a reaction. If we break this price point, this trade is no longer valid. So if we do not come down first and we break this first instead, then I'd be looking for the retracement and the continuation of the top side. Now, granted, we can come all the way back up into this zone, create yet another spring before we sell down. It is possible. Do I think it's likely? I don't, but I mean, I'm not in charge of the markets. They have yet to listen to all my demands. So all I can do is figure out where it's going and try to go along for the ride. And that's what I'm here for. Last but not least is GBPJPY. So here we go. 1 hour time frame. Here's a simplicity-based signal based off of my settings. We know my rules just to show you that any system has the potential to work. If you stick with it long enough, learn some management that works for it, you can do immeasurably great things. So, GBPJPY, here's our trade idea. We did make a nice engulfing, what word did I learn today? Elephant kind of move, right? Momentum move outside of this zone. We got it. Ta-da. There you go. Let's go to the line chart. Big move. Expecting the retest. Definitely something we want to be considerate of. Otherwise, we've got every reason to be looking for this to sell. I'm going to go ahead and drop my sell line, and that is 162.02. 162.02. I'm going to zoom out so you guys can take a look. We have got a vast amount of room. Now, granted, this spring makes it for a bit of a much too big of an ask trying to use this as structure. So if we break this price point, I would be closing early, honestly, versus trying to use this as structure. For those of you guys who are really going deep into the stop losses, this is too much of an ask for how much this is worth. So take a look real quick. That's 170 pips even from way up there. That's 170 pip difference. So from down here, which is where we're currently at, it's almost 400 pips. That's absolute insanity. So even down to here, we don't even have a one-to-one. My first reaction zone is going to be all the way into this area. We're looking at about 100 pips, give or take, from where we're at. And then, of course, down to here, which is about 350. So please be mindful. I would definitely give this some room. Can give it a little bit of room to play around. That's totally fine. I need to change that color and make it thicker or something. Hold on. Let's see. A little bit thicker. Pretty sure it's the same blue I was using, but it looks dimmer. I don't know why. That's it. Those are 5 trades. 5 trade reviews and 5 trades for you. This is all that we're doing. Simplicity is a great system. If you don't yet have it, please make sure you go to superez.com. Otherwise, thank you. I'm hoping to keep these all within 20 minutes to show you, look what you can do within 20 minutes of your time. And that was the goal here. So I'm going to start keeping up on how much this is actually worth per hour, and you're going to see this manipulate and kind of change over time. We know what we did, and this is only the last quarter of the year. Actually, less than the last quarter. We had over 5,000 pips, and these are not even indices. These are not even like super expensive pairs. This isn't hours of trading either. This is 20 minutes twice a month. That's how much that is. And we already went over what that could potentially be worth if you're learning how to trade and lot size that accordingly. What we're doing on our morning classes, we are already at, ooh, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. Let's find out together. Over 100,000 pips this year. We're already at 18,000 pips for the month of March. We have got some really steamy, awesome moves that we got last week and this week. Took a nice little loss there, but needless to say, we are doing amazing things, and I hope that you find a way to pick a lane. I don't care which lane, but pick a strategy, pick a lane, pick somebody that you can stick with long enough to where you can actually learn the skill for yourself. It is not rocket science. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a mathematician, an accountant, or an attorney to know how to navigate this industry and to become uber successful in it. So with that said, I hope you guys all have a beautiful, happy 2 weeks and spring for those of you guys who are on spring break and traveling a little bit. And I will be back here. I guess it will actually be spring by the time I go to make my next video. Happy trading, and thanks. God bless.